Welcome to part 2 of this video series that describes making a small steam test plant. In this video I'll be making the gas tank holder, water tank, and condenser for the plant. This speeded up clip shows the gas tank holder being 3D printed. The gas tank holder will hold an 8-ounce butane tank that will be used to fuel the burner for the boiler. It took just over an hour to 3D print the gas tank holder on my FLSun 3D printer. I have 3D printed gas tank holders in the past, so I have the files to be able to reprint them. The 3D printer printed the base first and once complete continued to print the side walls of the gas tank holder. I configured fine settings on my slicer to get a good finish on the 3D print. I used PLA filament with a 70% infill density on the gas tank holder, which made it quite strong once the printing was complete. Next, I made the water tank and the condenser oil trap. I have a workshop techniques video on making feed water tanks and condenser oil traps. I'll put a link to this video in the description below. I cut 2 pieces of 2.5-inch ID copper pipe to a length of 4 inches. I then squared the ends using my belt sander. I cleaned up the tubes on my Scotch-Brite wheel, removing as much patina as possible during the operation. The next step was to make the lids for the vessels. This clip shows a lid that has been cut and sanded to rough size being held in a mandrel, and the rim being turned to a diameter of 2.6 inches. I took light cuts while machining the rim of the lid. I also paused regularly to remove swarf from the chuck. I then cut a step in the lid which locates it on the vessel. The step is 0.062 inches deep and 0.075 inches wide. Again I took light cuts, however, I did encounter some chatter which was unavoidable on a piece of metal this thin. This clip shows me testing the fit of the lid onto the vessel after I had cleaned it up with a file. I made both lids using the same process. Next, I made the bases for the vessels. This photo shows one of the bases with a recess cut in it. I squared a piece of 1/8 inch brass sheet in the mill. I then held the sheet in a 4-jaw self-centering chuck and cut the recess with a carbide-tipped parting tool. The tool chattered a little, but I was able to get a recess 0.040 inches deep that the tube locates in. This forms a well for the solder to flow into when I soft solder the tube to the base. This clip shows me drilling the holes in a base that will be used to secure the vessel to the baseboard with brass wood screws. I center drilled the position of each hole and then drilled with a number 28 drill. This is clearance size for the wood screws I'll be using. I used a washer to mark a circumference in each corner of the base with a scriber. I then took the base over to the sanding disc and formed rounded corners using the scriber marks as a guide. I then smoothed the edges of the base on the Scotch-Brite wheel. This photo shows the condenser oil trap on its base. I repeated the same process to complete the base for the feed water tank. This photo shows the feed water tank, condenser oil trap, and fittings I had made off camera prior to soft soldering everything together. I soft soldered everything off camera as my workshop techniques video has more detail on soft soldering. There will be a link to this video in the description below. After soft soldering, I leak tested both vessels. I left the feed water tank full of water overnight, and there were no leaks from it. I air tested the condenser oil trap with 10 psi air and used soapy water to check for leaks. I left the condenser oil trap pressurized for around an hour to make sure no leaks developed. After leak testing, I began the painting process. This clip shows the feed water tank getting a coat of primer. The painting process takes a while, so I'll leave this video here. You'll see the painted vessels when I begin final assembly of the plant. So, that's the vessels for the steam plant completed. Next, I'll be moving on to the baseboard, steam turret and feed pump. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to support my channel. Thank you.